There we go, very warm welcome. It is Tuesday morning, it is the 8th of February 2022. We are just about to start our beginners solo ballroom and Latin class for this week. So for those of you that are joining me for the very first time, very warm welcome, trying the class out, thank you very much. Let me just explain the format of the class before we make a start. So every week we do a 1 hour class and we pick a different style of dance. I have 12 dances on rotation from the ballroom and the Latin, and every single week we do a different dance. So we come back to that particular dance on a cycle of 12 weeks. So if you're looking for something which is more progressive, where for example you look for 4 weeks of one particular dance, you're more than welcome to go into the video library on the website and then look back over the last several times that we did that dance. Now today's dance is Waltz. We have done this 4 times over. Today is the 5th time that we're recovering that from the last few months. So I'm still going to go from the absolute beginning. I assume that people haven't seen any of the videos before. If you have, it's a bonus, you've got a little head start, but otherwise I'm going to break everything down. We'll go from the beginning and you can see the steps build up as we go through the class. It is a beginner's class, so I'm not adding anything that is too technical. If you've been to a ballroom and Latin class with a teacher anywhere in the world, you would have been shown a syllabus. Quite often we call the very beginning pre-bronze. A lot of our governing bodies start with pre-bronze, which is the early entry steps. And then a lot of them move up to what we call bronze, silver, gold, and then so on. So I stick in the beginner's class more or less to the pre-bronze steps, which is assuming people are just getting going and have either never danced before or have done a handful of classes. So that's the first thing. Now, health and safety warning, we're all working out at home. It does look on the camera like I have possibly a little bit more room. We have just moved house, so I'm actually in a new room that has been totally dedicated to allow me to keep the video set up so I don't have to keep moving furniture as I did in the other room. But most of us are working out in our small living rooms, in our kitchens and so on. So we need to be conscious of furniture, obstacles, shelves, anything you're going to trip over. So do make sure you've moved as much out of the way as possible, and if you're in a very confined space, that you are constantly aware of where you are going. That's the health and safety warning. This isn't too strenuous, so you should be okay if you've got a lack of mobility. Do not worry. This is a Waltz class, so we're not going too crazy. I will give you some adapted steps as well, so that if you are a little less mobile, that you can still achieve a decent Waltz. So let us make a little start. I'm going to do, for the next 5 minutes, a few steps that are the core basic steps of Waltz that we either should know from earlier classes if you've joined me before, or if you haven't, these are the ones that you need to get your head around straight away. Now, I like to face the front. I find it very difficult if I'm watching my own videos online to do it face to face. It doesn't make sense to me, so I'm not being rude, but it is far easier for you to copy me from behind. So that is it. So I'm going to face the front. Let's look at our basic Waltz step. It has a 1, 2, 3 count. I'm going to pick the right leg, no particular reason, just so that we can get started. So I'm going to pick my right leg and I'm going to go forwards, side, together. I'm going to pick my back left leg, back, side, together. Forwards, side, together, and back, side, together. Have a little look on your floor. Imagine a square. You are trying to go forwards and then sideways along the sides of the square. I'm then going to complete my square. You might wish to think about it as an L shape. So an L upside down and then an L the correct way. Square, box, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, I'm going to go down with my heel. I go onto the ball of the foot. As I take the second step, it's on the ball. I then lower and close. Don't worry about that too much, but you're going to see the rise and fall. If you've watched other YouTube videos or you've been on watching Strictly and you've heard the judges talk about footwork, it's this lower and rising. Now, how do we achieve that? I bend at the knees on the standing leg. Okay, so as I go to put my right foot forwards, I'm sinking and bending bending the left leg. So the heel can go first. Ball of the feet, and then we lower. Back, up, lower. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now arms for balance. We're practicing at home on our own. We're in our living rooms. We're not dancing with a partner. So we don't have to be ultra precise, but you do want your arms up for balance. And it is a good training exercise to see if you can prepare the muscles in your shoulders and your back to keep your arms in this position. Now, if you've watched the videos online, you'll see the leader's position, which is generally the man. If you're dancing in a male-female couple, that will be the man. If you're dancing in a same-sex couple, then one of you will have decided to be the leader and one be the follower. So the leader's hand is left, and the follower's position would be with the right hand up, left hand on the shoulder of your leader. So this is the follower, or traditionally the lady's position, and this is for our leader, or traditionally the man's position. So here we are. Now, focus on the feet. This is a nice little box step. Let's try it on the other foot. So I'm going to take the left foot forwards. This is just to equal things out. Because we're working at home and we're doing this solo, what we're aiming for is some nice left and right alternatives. I always explain to you whether I'm demonstrating a leader step or a follower's step, and we do a mixture of both, and it's quite nice because we're not sticking to one or the other, so we can actually exercise both sides of the legs, both sides of the brain. Now, I take the left foot forwards first. Forwards, and then I'm going back on the right. Then forwards again, and then back on the right. So I'm creating the box step, but this time I'm going the opposite way round. Forwards left, back on the right. Forwards left, and back on the right. Okay, so I'm always recording these videos, even when we're broadcasting live on Zoom, so that you can have that recording and come back to it. I don't expect you to get every single thing, and sometimes I might need to go over things a little bit quicker to move on, and you can catch it again on the video. Now, rotation, we have natural and reverse rotation, okay? Natural in our waltz is rotating to the right or clockwise, and reverse is going left or anti-clockwise. Don't need to worry too much, but what you are going to see is the box step moving around. So let's start with my left foot. I'm going forwards, and I'm going back. And I think, well, that's just nice. Quite happy with that. When I go back, I might wish to turn and face a new wall. Now, the turning part happens on the side step. So the first step still goes straight. The side step is going to have the rotation, and then the little closing step just to finish, and I'm looking at the new wall. Now let me take my forwards left, looking at my new wall. And when I take my right foot back, I'm going to rotate again 90 degrees, and I'm looking at the back of the room. Now, I totally appreciate that you're watching on the screen, and now you're looking away from me. You've probably got your back to me, and so on. So that taken into account, try and listen carefully. You're going forwards on your left foot, facing the back of your room. You're going to go back on your right foot, do a quarter turn to your left, and have a little look to your new wall. I go forwards on my left, looking at my new wall, and I go back on my right, look to the front again. So in this particular example, I'm doing a box step, which is a pair, one forwards, one back, and every time I take the right foot for the back part of the box step, I'm going to do a quarter turn, okay? As you get more confident, you can turn further, maybe 180 degrees, okay? But we'll do that later on. So, let me start here. Left foot's going forwards. One to the front, back and turn to the left. Forwards towards that new wall, back, look to the back of the room. Forwards, looking at the new wall, back and turn. Forwards, back and turn. Okay, so that's a basic box step going left or anti-clockwise. Now we're going to do it on the opposite foot. So let's take my right foot forwards, forwards part of the box. I'm going to take my left foot back and I'm going to be turning to my right, back and turn. There's my 90-degree turn. I do my forward step, looking at my new wall. I do my back step and I turn. Forward step, looking at the back of the room. Back step, little turn, look at the new wall. Forwards and back. Now, like I said, just for the purposes of that exercise, I have done one pair or a box step, that's the two halves, and I've rotated 90 degrees each time. We're going to do that with the music. Now guys, I don't normally broadcast anything on YouTube for the full lessons, so I only normally do small snippets, but I will be posting this particular video on YouTube in the future, so I'm going to use a music that has a creative license so that I don't get banned for putting something on with music that was unlicensed. So this is not in the normal Waltz playlist. When you go to my Spotify playlist with all the Waltz practice lists, it's got all the normal music and everything's on there because I pay for everything on the Spotify. That is absolutely fine for us to have, but on YouTube we can't use licensed music in the same way. So this particular song is one that I am allowed to use on the YouTube, so if I do choose to post this on YouTube in the future, this one is fine. So let us have a little practice. We're going to do both sides going round. Let's start with the right foot basic. We do it facing the front first. 1, 2, 3, and down. 2, 3. Heel leads, ball of the foot, little lower on the closing leg. Good, now start my rotation. Forwards, back and rotate. Forwards, and back and rotate. Forwards, back and rotate, face the front. Notice it keeps you more or less in a small circle, so you shouldn't be disappearing too far around your living room. Let's go again. Guys, little pause. I'm going to use my left foot going forward this time, opposite part of the box step. Here I go. And back again, quarter turn on the back step. Going round again. Guys, if you're over-rotating and rotating a little bit, it doesn't matter as long as you keep moving around. And a little pause. Let me switch that music off. Guys, so that's our basic box step. Whenever we're going to do a warm-up and get dancing for a waltz, that is what I normally do. A couple of minutes, get the legs warmed up, get the knees warmed up. We are now safe to move on. So, slightly extended warm-up for you today so that you get the idea. And I wanted to make sure that our new viewers are getting that information. So, let me turn to my little list. Like I said, this is the 5th time that we've gone to waltz. So I have a small routine that we're going to go through. There are 2 techniques, one that we learned last time and one that I'm going to introduce today. So every time we revisit a dance, I move to a little new technique and I give you an exercise where you can practice that technique. So today we're going to look at the heel turn because this is what we did last time, so let's recap that. I'm going to go back on my right foot. I'm going to draw my feet together. I'm a corner. Now this is exactly what you were always told not to do when you were a child. I always used to swing back on the heels of my shoes, my mother would go mad, or I'd stand with my feet dragging in, or something weird, and you would always get it, well I was always getting told off, being told that's your expensive school shoes and you mustn't break the heels and so on. However, this is the motion. I go back on the right, I close the left in, and I take a little bit of weight out of the balls of the feet. So I'm not rocking right back, but enough weight out of the balls of the feet to achieve less friction on the floor so that we can move around. Now this is the thighs. It's the thighs that are doing the work because that's what keeps me balanced, that slight bend in the thigh. So back, close, heel turn. A right foot exit, here. Now if we're doing a heel turn exercise, and whenever the heel turns appear, especially, we have lots of our ballroom dances where we use the heel turns, foxtrot, waltz, very common step. The entry step and the exit step is the same foot. So if I go back on the right, I will exit forwards on the right. Okay? So remember that. A lot of the time when I'm teaching in the class, and we start doing, in a normal class when I've got people in front of me, we start doing the heel turns, a lot of people say to me, how do I remember which foot to go and exit from? Because once you've brought your feet together, you've got equal weight on both feet. So you're thinking, well actually, I don't know which one to stick forwards. So if you think it's the one that you went in with, right went in, heels, and the right goes out. Let's look at it at the other side. Remember, we're working solo, so I like to even everything. Back, heels, and exit. Do it again, left side. Back, together, heels, exit. Like I said, I'm not going to keep practicing over and over. You can do that on your own. But the idea is that you get balanced and that you feel controlled. Footwork. I'm going down. There's the ball of the foot going back. Standing leg is bending. Down. I then draw in. Left foot comes together. Heels. Rise onto the balls of the feet. And the exit step, ball, heel. Okay, ball, heel, exit. So our normal waltz footwork, when we're not doing any particularly difficult steps, the natural waltz footwork for someone going forwards is heel, toe, toe lower. Okay, it's down, toe, toe lower. So whoever's on a forward step always is heel. Whoever's on the back step is on the ball, but going down. So we've got the bend of the standing leg. So we've got the down, up, and then we start up and we lower on the third part of the bar. So the natural waltz footwork is heel, toe, toe lower, ball, toe, toe lower. That is the same in the heel turn, okay? We're going down, rising up, exit, slide lower. Okay, so that's our heel turn exercise, and we did cover that last time, so I'm not going to labour on that. Let's develop that and have a little look, because it leads me nicely into the reverse corte. So the reverse corte is a step that is danced normally with our partner. I'm going to show you both the leaders and the followers' steps, and then we're going to incorporate that in our little routine in a bit. The man or the leader starts as they would do with that heel turn by going back on the right. They pull the feet together and do the little heel turn, and then we settle on the right foot underneath ourselves. So we don't have the right foot stepping forward for a big exit. So I go back, heel turn, settle, slightly underneath. It's not too far down, it's not a sit down on a stool, but my right foot gets some weight on it. So if I was dancing as the leader, back, heel turn, settle. And then the left foot has the weight taken off, ready to go for the next step, whatever that might be, okay? For the reverse corte, back, heel, settle on the leader's side. Now, the follower or lady would be going forwards on the right, on the left foot. So she would normally go forwards. She'd be about to take her side step here, about a 90-degree angle, roughly speaking, and then she'll close her feet in. So for the lady, or the follower, the step is more or less a closed change, or a normal basic, just with a little bit of rotation, slightly on the diagonal, forwards and close. So if you're dancing socially, what do I mean by socially? I mean that you didn't pre-organise, pre-plan and practice a set routine in a particular order. I teach mainly social classes, so all my students lead and follow without ever having danced with each other. They meet that particular evening and say, would you like to go on the floor for a waltz? Off we go. And we learn how to feel the lead and the follow to guide ourselves into all the steps, as opposed to learning a routine for an exam or a competition. There is nothing wrong with that. You can, of course, move on and do that should you wish. But most of my students are learning enough to get out on what I call a Saturday night, at a wedding, at a function, at a social dance, and be able to grab anyone onto the dance floor and not fall over or make an idiot of yourself. So my dance classes are very much about how do we get around and just stay on our feet. We get about 6 to 8 steps of each dance as a beginner, and that gives us enough confidence to get around the floor. If that's where you want to leave it, that is fine. Get enough 6 to 8 steps, figures as we call them. It's enough, okay? It's enough for the brain over a few weeks to get 6 to 8 steps and have a nice confident dance. So, back, heel, settle for our reverse corte for the leader's steps, or if I was going on the followers, forwards and close. Okay, so that's the explanation of the reverse corte, and if you want to practice that individually on its own, it's a nice little exercise that you can do after your heel turn practice. Now, for the purposes of practice, I like to do my heel turns consecutively. I find it's a great workout for my thighs. It gets my ankles working. I'm working on the strength in the balls of the feet. And now I can practice my little reverse corte, back, settle. I can turn myself around and do the follower's step. So there you go, you can watch that back on the video at some point. How are we going to fit that all in today? Well, we're going to do a nice little routine for the next half hour or so, and I'm going to build the steps up. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing, whether it's the leaders or the followers' steps. If it's your first time with me as well, I also tell you if I've adapted anything specifically for the solo dancing in the living room. Quite often you see things on the internet, the YouTube, and they're beautiful routines and everything looks wonderful, but you're trying to learn it in the living room and someone's doing it in a huge ballroom or a big dance studio. Doesn't always work and was dancing solo, so I do like to explain to you if I've put in a little extra step, or a bridging step as I call it, in order to facilitate some kind of living room dance adaptation so that we're not going too far, because we've only got a small space. So, let's look at routine number 5. Okay, solo waltz routine number 5. So if you're looking for this in the video playlist at any point, it is beginner's solo routine number 5 on our slow waltz. Let us make a little start. I'm going to do the right foot into a back box step. Back, and then forwards left. There's my box step. I'm then going to make a rotation with this. So I'm going to rotate around the room anti-clockwise. So we'll keep the rotation going until we get to the front again. So when we set off with the music and do this, you can start facing the front and get the idea of the rhythm. Get yourselves organised, as I call it. Don't be rushing off into the routine. You need to listen to the music, settle down, get in the rhythm of things. So I do 4 pairs of these at the beginning, just to make sure I know what's going on. And then I do 4 pairs with the rotation. So if you absolutely hate my rotation, and it's thoroughly confusing at home, then you're going to do 8 pairs of box steps just facing the front. I know some of you that watch my videos through the library are suffering from some mobility issues, and I appreciate that I'm working with some older groups in some of my classes as well. So it is important that those of you that don't feel so steady with the turning and the rotation, and you know who you are, those of you that are suffering with vertigo, ear problems, those of you that are my lovely mature students, you know who you are, so just be careful if you're unsteady with the rotation. Leave it out. So that's our little box step. Let's look at our whisk and chassé. Okay, so we're going to do a right foot back whisk. I'm going to step back, side, little cross behind, look at the body position. I'm facing the front. My curtains, there's a window hiding behind there, by the way. Beautiful sunny day, but if I let them open, then we'd never see anything on the camera because it would blind you. So, there's my front. I go back, still looking at the front. I go slightly to the side, and then I'm going to cross behind, and my hips and body is looking into the corner, okay? If I was dancing with my partner, holding on, I would be dancing the follower's step, going back into a whisk. So this is a follower's whisk, right foot. I'm going to do a little chassé. So I'm going to go slide in, and then I'm going to go side, close, side. Notice as I do the side, close, side, I square up to the front. Take a little look again. Back, cross, slide, chassé, little look to the front. Now if you were doing this in the ballroom with a partner, your rotation would be a little bit more. You would go forwards, side, close, side, and you would actually be facing slightly to the left corner or the left diagonal, okay? But remember, we're working in the living room. I'm trying to keep things more simple. Back whisk, slide for your little chassé, and there we go. I'm going to do one corner check, and then we're going to practice this with the music. My little corner check is left, rock, and side. Okay, so that's just a little corner check, and here. That will leave my right foot ready to set off and start again. So I'm going to call this section 1. We're doing our little box steps facing the front. We do one more. Then I'm going to do 4 pairs with the rotation. If you're leaving that out, that's fine, but we're doing 4 pairs. Carry on round. Here we go. 3rd pair. And the last pair, I'm facing the front. Back whisk, right foot. Slide, chassé, balls of the feet, corner check. Okay, so I'm going to put the music on. We'll dance it through. We'll have a bar or so in between just to recover our breath. I'm actually just going to take a little bit of water, guys. You might want to do the same thing. And then I'll put the music on, and we will just practice that little section 1. It's quite a lot to get into the routine today, so you'll definitely want to watch this back again on the video. Now, arms up for balance, shoulders back and relaxed, chin up. Around about here, if they get tired, you're more than welcome to take them down. Basic. Box step. I'm going to start my rotation. Back whisk, right foot. Chassé. Little check. Pause. We start again. Rotation if you wish. back whisk, chassé, corner check, little weight, start again. Turn in if you wish. Back whisk and chassé. Corner check. Little pause. And pause there. So guys, when you're replaying this on the video, you can get to that point. We're about halfway through, so that's about 30 minutes in. You could just stop and pause and practice section 1 again. Let's move on to section 2. So I did my little corner check here. Left, right, left. Now I'm going to do a chassé to the other side. So the chassé, as I demonstrated earlier, has a preparation step. I was in a promenade position. When I did the chassé this way, I was on the follower's timing. So I did sliding on the left, side, close, side on the right. So you have the 1 count, which is your big heel lead sliding step. You have your side, close, side. We did a check step into the corner. That goes left, right, left, and it then allows me to have my right foot ready to go so that I can change direction. Remember, in the ballroom, we go around the room progressively anti-clockwise. So we're moving in a particular direction so that we don't all crash into each other. We know that we will move gradually around the room anti-clockwise. It's like running the lap around the athletics field. That's how I describe it to my students. We've got to go one way. Now, because we're dancing in our living room and on our own and we're just practicing, my little check here is allowing me to use my right foot and chassé this way, and I don't mind that I'm going one way up the room or the other because there's nobody to crash into, only my walls. So my right foot comes through and I do a forward step on my right and a chassé on my left, which leads me nicely to a little practice exercise which you can include. Again, if you don't want to do a whole routine, this is a really good practice exercise. Left slide, chassé, check, right foot, chassé, check, left foot, chassé, check, right foot, chassé, and check. It's a nice left-right evenly balanced exercise for your little slide or your opening step into your chassé and a little check. Let me do that with the numbers. Left foot, 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 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 Now, international waltz, danced in closed hold the entire time, holding on to our partner. The American rhythms allow you to separate from your partner, and in the American smooth version of the slow waltz, they separate, go side by side, go forward, back, turn under the arm, absolutely beautiful. So let me always tell you where the steps are coming from. If I do a little check in hold with the partner, I'm keeping it international. If I let go of my partner and I let them go off and do the check on their own, and they can do beautiful arms and maybe do it side by side with me, do it in front of me or whatever, I'm going with the American smooth version. That's where it comes from. So because we're dancing on our own, not with a partner, it doesn't matter. But if I want to extend my arms in the check and get a little arm workout and make it look beautiful, it looks gorgeous, it looks graceful. This is the American version because I'm not holding on to my partner, even though I don't have the partner, obviously, dancing at home. So, my whisk and chassis, but I check, I let go of my imaginary partner, and then I put my arms up, I do my little chassis, and then I let go of my imaginary partner. So if you want a really good left-right workout for the feet and the brain and the arms, take a little look. Follower's arms, slide, chassis, check, leader's arms, slide, chassis, check, follower's arms, and so on. So it's helping me to get a bit of an extra workout, to work equally on leaders and followers' arms, and to get a nice left-right balance, which is brilliant for the brain. I'm just going to grab some water there. So let's incorporate that second part into our routine. Here we go. We've got back, forwards, back, forwards, back, forwards, fourth time facing the front. Now, if you wish, you can start the rotation, 4 pairs for the rotation. Third pair, fourth pair. My back whisk is coming up. Chassis to the side, corner check, whisk to the other side, corner check. So I've done it evenly, both sides. Now, a little adaptation step, a bridging step, specifically for our living room dance today. I'm going to go across with my left foot, step out slightly on the right, and then replace the weight on the left. So it's a little bit of a pivot step, pivoting on the balls of the feet, changing direction 180 degrees, but it is a linking step that I've put in specifically just to get us through to the second half of the routine. So across, change direction, looking to my left. Okay, so it's a little 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. That's it, just to link. My right foot is going to go across. My left foot is going sideways. I'm going to brush my right foot in, and then I'm going to land on my right foot out. Let's take a little look at that again, guys. This is an underturn spin turn on the follower's timing. So normally when we do a spin turn, I'll do it properly, I would be going here, maybe disappearing off your screen somewhat. We get about 180 degrees on that spin turn, but we can underturn the spin turn. We do that in the ballroom as well. And this one is so that I'm going more or less across the screen so that we don't disappear around. I know it's too difficult to keep going and facing the back of the room when we're doing this on the videos. So I go across on my right. I step sideways on my left. I'm going to brush in and set out. And then I will exit on my left foot going forwards. Okay, so that's going to be my little spin turn. Let me grab my little routine list so I don't go wrong. Left foot pivot, that little swivel. So I'm going pivot, pivot, drop. And then I'm going to go in here, do the little spin turn, slightly underturn, and then I'm going to go forwards and close. Notice that the forwards left, the close change is not getting quarter turn rotation. I'm going to keep facing that direction. Again, this is a forwards and close. Okay, again, a slight adaptation for our living room dance. I wanted to underturn that. So we've got 2 steps here, or 3 steps from the pivot that have got some slight adaptation. Let's take it from the pivot. Pivot, swivel, look to your left ball. Forwards on the right, starting the spin turn. Side on the left. The right foot brushes in. The right foot goes out. I go forwards and close. Okay, so I think for me that's the hardest step today. The other steps I have done in some of those other routines, but this is the slightly new adding on. Let's do it again. Pivot, left, swivel. Start the spin turn, right, left, brush, exit, forwards and close. Okay, so we're going to call that section 3. Okay, section 1 is our basics and our box step with our rotation. Section 2 is the whisks and chassis section, both sides. And section 3, the little pivot and the spin turn. Okay, let's see if we can add it all together. We've got box step. We've got 4 pairs of these on this way, facing the front. I think that was 4. Let's start the rotation. I do apologise if I lost count there. Guys, keep going round. That's section 1. Whisking section. Whisk, chassis, check. Chassis, check. Swivel, spin turn, forwards and close. Okay, so there's 3 sections there. That's a lot going on. Guys, we're going to just do that with the music. Let's run through for a couple of minutes with the music, and then we'll add on section 4. Section 4 is the heel turns and the reverse corte that we did earlier on. So let's just do it for a couple of minutes. Shoulders back, posture, slight bend in the knees. 1, 2, 3. One more pair. Rotation if you wish. One more pair coming up. Whisking chassis. Corner check. Chassis the other way. Corner check. Swivel. Spin turn. And change. Little pause. Once more through. Let's start again, because that is about to end. We need some more music. Once more through, then we'll add on a little section 4. We're nearly done. On 1, 2, 3. Rotation if you wish. Whisk and chassis section. Corner check. Chassis, corner check, swivel. Spin turn and settle. Pause that music. Guys, so that was sections 1, 2 and 3. Section 4 is what we did at the beginning of the class. It was our heel turn and then our little reverse corte. So let's look at that heel turn again. We're going to put it into the routine. Back, heel turn, exit, back, heel turn, exit. That is equally danced left and right for leader and follower in multiple steps. That is a beautiful exercise because we do left and right heel turns, all of us. Now, this one is specifically the reverse corte on the leader's timing, like I say, because that is the one that's slightly different. The follower is doing pretty much just a left forward basic and left close change. So the back, the call together, rise up, and then lower onto the right leg. Okay, so the reverse corte on the leader's steps is the one that's slightly more challenging, so that's why I put that in on the leader's side. So I've got back, heel, rise, settle. Okay, let's do it with the 2 heel turns. So this is a bit more challenging, and I'm going to tell you why. When we do the heel turns, back, heel turn, exit, our momentum is going forwards. Our usual exit at this point would be forwards, and I would continue on to a motion in that direction. The next figure would continue on. So I would be going back, heel turn, exit, and then run on to whatever the new step is over there. But I'm asking you to do 2 heel turns consecutively and going the opposite way. So we're having to really control that momentum. Back, heel turn, exit, and now I need to use everything to go back the other way and power back and take that momentum back. When the momentum is fighting me, it wants to go on, it wants to go towards the speaker. I've pushed myself forwards. So this exercise is crucial. Back, heel turn, forwards, bend the knee, use your legs, and exit. But like I say, I've made it challenging because we're doing 2 in a row and making you go back the other way. So, if you feel a little bit distressed at this point, that is why, okay? So don't worry if it's not perfect. Back, heel turn, exit, back, heel turn, exit, the reverse corte, back, heel turn, rise up, lower underneath. Remember, we're not taking the right foot forwards on that exit. It's settling underneath. Linking step is 1 step here just to finish the routine. It's literally side, drag. Let me explain the adaptation there. We do dragging steps, or hesitations as they are known, in multiple ballroom dances. We do them on the left foot, the right foot, and so on. They are normally fitted in to a basic step or a part of a figure. So if I was doing a hesitation normally, I would normally go forwards, side, drag, or back, side, drag. So the drag or the hesitation would come on beat 3 at the end of the bar in our waltz basic, if I was putting it in the ballroom traditionally where it should be. All I've done just for now to finish our routine is done a little side step and a little drag in so we can compose ourselves at the end of the routine without going too crazy, okay? So I've left it out of doing a basic step and putting it in, and we're just literally going to go sideways, and we would have done our little corte, reverse corte here, settle, step onto my left, drag in my right foot, take a breather, and then I will restart the routine and go through it again. Guys, I know I've been talking lots and lots and lots, so we need to look at the whole routine, all 4 sections from the very, very beginning, slowly without the music. 4 box step pairs. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going particularly slow so everyone can catch it. 1, 2, 3. 3rd pair. 4th pair. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Rotation if you wish. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Whisk, 2, 3. Chassis, 2 and 3. Check, 2, 3. Chassis, 2 and 3. Check, 2, 3. Pivot, spin turn, close, heel turn, back corte, settle, lunge, hesitation. Wow, that's a lot. I'm slightly running out of breath counting the numbers and saying the names. So this time round I'm just going to count numbers. I keep it a slow count, and then you guys hopefully can just see where I'm at. and I will not have to run out of breath. Let's go, basic, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I think that's the 4 pairs. I start my rotation, back, and forwards, and back, and forwards, and round, here, last pair, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, swivel, 2, 3, spin, 2, 3, exit, heel, heel, reverse corte, settle, side. Now, for those of you that are joining me for the first time and may never have seen the spin turn, let me just go over the timing, because I didn't explain that earlier on. That's my fault, so I know I've done the spin turn in previous Waltz classes, so apologies for that. But here, I go in on the 1, I step sideways on the 2, the brush is on the and, it's the half count between the 2 and the 3, here. And then we step out on the 3, okay? So it feels quite quick. And remember, this is the follower's steps, okay? So I've got 1, 2, and 3. And then 1, 2, 3 is my exit step. Okay, let's do that again, spin turn. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, whilst that may be the follower's steps for the spin turn, the action of doing this brushing, brush open, and doing that sort of pivot happens in some other steps for the leader. So in the future, I will teach that on the opposite foot. The leaders can go in, side, brush out, and we can do it on the opposite foot. Okay, that step or the motion appears again in multiple dances for both leader and follower. Generally, it's the right foot option for the follower, and generally it's the left foot option for the leader. But we'll come to that on another time, another day, because I am conscious of running out of time, as I always do each week. I'm going to put the song on. I'm going to dance the routine for the whole song. Try and follow along. It's a nice 3.5-minute track, so we're going to try and do the whole song. Take a little bit of water before we set off. From the very top. Get your position in. 1, 2, 3. Rotation. Whispering chassis section. Pivot. Spin turn. Close. Heels. Start again. Whispering chassis. rotation. Whiskey chassis section. Rotation. Okay guys, take a little breather there. So hopefully, nice and clear on the video, hopefully you can replay this, pause it, rewind it, whatever you need to do to keep practicing. And remember, at the beginning, we had our basic box step, which is our warm-up exercise. Important to get ourselves warmed up before we practice. Our second exercise was our heel turn technique, getting that nice flow of momentum and changing direction more efficiently using those leg muscles. Our third exercise was the little reverse corte. That was the new step for today. I haven't taught that in the beginners Waltz classes so far. So the reverse corte, and we did that on leaders timing. It was the leader's example there. We also had a little chassis exercise, so being able to use that left and right equally and have a little practice from side to side in the living room, doing our little Waltz chassis and some little checks. And I also explained to you that if you do the check in hold, you'd be doing it international style, and if you do the check out of hold with some nice floaty arms, then you could do those with the American style. Remember, arms, if you are using them, Waltz is beautiful. You want to breathe the arms, imagine that you're floating through the air. It's not a strong arm like we were doing the Latin, it's a beautiful float. Imagine your arms are like feathers. Just watch the wrists. We don't want any dead spiders at the ends of the wrists. That's really not a good look. So it's beautiful. I float up and I float down. And you can interpret that as you want. And do remember, we are working on our own in our living room because we're having fun and we just love to dance. Even if you think that you're absolutely awful, nobody else can see you, all you need to do is practice, have fun and enjoy the classes. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Those of you that are on live there on the Zoom class, thank you so much. And for everybody else who's watching on the video catch-up, hope you are well. If you need to ask me questions, if you want help on anything, just send me a message on email. You've got my contact details on all the booking sections, however you have found my class. Do message me, I love to hear from people. So if you need help, if not, we are here live every single Tuesday morning for 2022, UK timing, 11 AM, and then, as I said, these videos all go into my video library. You've got access to them. If you've done the class live, you get 7 days access, and if you want to do the video library on an ongoing basis, you can subscribe to that. It's all on there. Thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Video link and password will come out within the next hour. I will send that to you individually on email so that you've all got it. For those of you that are on live with me through the Zoom. Everybody else, you know how to access through your paid plans. Guys, thank you so much. I will see you next week or next time where we will have a new dance. We're doing ballroom 1 week, Latin the next, so we're alternating. Okay, so nice little variation every week. Guys, see you soon. Get a cup of tea. Take a little rest.